Part 2 of Notice Me. What do I do? Who can I talk to? Nobody. I'm alone. There's one person I could talk to. I'd probably get a broken nose out of this and end up in the emergency room. The longest walk in my life was from my door, down the hall, and to Hutch's door. I stood outside for 5 minutes trying to gather the courage to knock. Albrecht, dressed as Einstein, walked by. He saw me, saw the door. I wiped my hands on my cut-off sweatpants and tried to say hi. He pulled off the wig, rubbed his head, and said, "There are more efficient ways to get someone to talk to you." "How did you know it was me?" I said. That was a dumb question. Everybody knew. Albrecht raised an eyebrow and said, "This evening has only one logical conclusion." "What, let Hutch smash my face into the ground?" I asked. "Why don't you find out?" Albrecht gave me a curious half-grin and knocked 4 times. I barely heard Hutch say, "Come in." Albrecht opened the door and pushed me inside, then closed the door behind me. Hutch sat at his desk, wearing the same clothes as before. The dead laptop lay on the floor, and he had another one open on his desk. All across his desk were notes and old drafts and condoms, and on his bed were notes and note cards and more old drafts and photocopies. The music from the party serenaded us with something wild. Hutch looked up at me. I couldn't look at him, so I stared at the laptop on the floor, then down at my bare feet. My face felt hot all over again. "How's it going?" I mumbled. The silence hung like a guillotine about to drop. "Here to gloat," Hutch said. His bitterness told me that any chance of a relationship, or even a friendship, was over. "No. Would you believe me if I said I'm sorry?" I said. Another silence. Then he asked quietly and coldly, "Why did you do it?" The words tumbled over each other, fighting with the emotion trying to get out. "I was flirting, I guess. You were supposed to say help, and I'd swoop in and fix it. You know, noble champion kind of thing. I didn't expect this," I said. The reason sounded stupid even as I said it. "Flirting?" Hutch said. I stared at the ceiling to keep the tears from falling. This isn't me. Maybe it is. I'm about to come out, and it terrified me. "I'm gay. I like you. I mean, I really like you. You're sexy, and someday I want to learn to surf. I want to get to know you. But it didn't go like I planned," I said. "You destroyed my computer because you like me?" Hutch said. His voice darkened. If he was going to hit me, now would be the time. I wouldn't blame him if he did. "It sounds stupid when you say it like that," I said, my voice growing softer. I had failed Hutch, my family, and me. God, did it hurt. My dad and brothers always pulled jokes and pranks on each other, especially me. They did it all the time. It's no excuse, but I'm sorry, I said. "If I did that to my family, I'd be pretty lonely and pretty beat up," Hutch said. That triggered a really deep pain. Pretty lonely? That's a good word to describe the hell of my life. I was too afraid to be gay, too afraid to be me, too afraid to write, too afraid of my family. Now I'm really afraid of my family. Had I just caused a divorce? Was grandfather coming down to Vegas to haul me back to Watson Hill? I wasn't pretty lonely. I was extremely lonely. I folded my arms because it was the only way I could protect myself. Without meaning to, Hutch had found my deepest pain. I should go because I've destroyed any chance we had. I glanced at Hutch, the best-looking man I've ever seen. Everybody likes him. He's comfortable with who he is, and he can surf. He doesn't know how lucky he is. I shouldn't have acted like that. Not with somebody I liked. It won't happen again. I apologize, I said. Thanks, Hutch said. But I'm still about to fail. Samson doesn't accept any excuses for late work. I took a deep breath to still the emotions ping-ponging inside me and said, when you came downstairs, it made me realize what a jerk I'd been. There I was, having a great time, and you had to miss the party because of me. It wasn't fair. I'm here to help. Put me to work. What had I just said? Was I begging him to accept me? Yes, we could never be friends, not after what I did, but maybe Hutch can forgive me. For the first time since I entered the room, I looked at Hutch. Hutch's face softened. His mouth hinted of a small, sad smile that quickly vanished. This project is too big to do in one night. I don't know where to start, Hutch said. Had Hutch given me a life preserver? I took another deep breath and held on to this little feeling inside me. For the first time in years, a tiny piece of me felt hope. Maybe that's what Hutch needs. Hope. You've already done the research and written it. It's already in your head. We only need to pull all the words back out. Walk me through it, I said. Hutch guided me through the piles of notes and papers and photocopies and old drafts and emails. It was a scattered mess of random thoughts and information. If I helped organize it, maybe that would make up for me causing so much trouble. If I got busy enough, I could forget about the mess of my life, about my family. You have some scissors? For the next few minutes, I organized all his notes. His professor has really bad handwriting. I wouldn't use that draft because I couldn't read it. Besides, there's so much of the other stuff. We won't need it. I handed Hutch the first part, and he typed it. I organized each section and handed it to him, never letting him slow down. We made a team, and I saw what we could have been if I hadn't been so afraid. Some of the articles and notes focused on the ocean and on the beach. I handed those to him because the ocean was important to him. I could have loved Hutch if I hadn't screwed everything up. Maybe he didn't understand that I was gay, or maybe it didn't matter to him. I looked at him again. Maybe I didn't have to be afraid with Hutch. Maybe there had been one person I could trust. Maybe I could still trust. Thank you, I whispered. Hutch looked up from his laptop and noticed me. What for? Oh, turn the printer on, would you? I turned the printer on and lied, saving me from a boring party. You are one strange fish, Hutch said, and resumed typing. The man knew how to write. He only needed an excuse to cut loose and explode his ideas into words. Hutch clipped through the pages at a good rate. He printed them out. I edited, and we did that for hours. I received a text from Dad and read it while Hutch wasn't looking. Your mom has gone to a hotel, taking your sister with her, and wants a divorce. She refuses to speak to me until I stand up for my family. This is all your fault. I'm so angry that I am ashamed to call you son. You are no longer welcome here. I turned away so Hutch couldn't see my face. This night kept getting worse. I pretended to organize the next few chapters and endured the sadness cascading inside me. Hutch's roommate came in, stared at the mess, and left. Albrecht came in and nodded. He brought us pizza, and then he smiled as he left. Our last visitor was Solomon. He brought us a couple of colas and cracked a smile. You two kissed and made up. I glanced at Hutch, looking for some kind of hope. We're bros again, Hutch said, and turned back to the laptop. Solomon tossed a condom on Hutch's desk. I struck out, so I won't be needing this tonight. He clapped me on the back as he walked out, nodding at the condom. Had Solomon realized that I liked Hutch? That I was gay? After Solomon left, I pretended to organize another section and stared at the back of Hutch's head. One thing had gone right tonight. Maybe we can be friends. I handed Hutch a list of references that he quickly typed in, then he printed out the final page. I was reading it and marking the errors when Hutch spoke, his voice soft, kind. Jason, I like you like this, completely chilled, pleasant to be around, and a guy I would like to get to know better. I wanted to apologize again. I wanted to tell him how stupid I had been. All that came out was, it was fun. Any plans next weekend? Hutch said. Was this a test? What was next weekend? First weekend in November. No, it was his way of asking if I would take responsibility for the mess I had made. I gave him a small grin and said, taking your laptop to somebody to get it fixed. I'll pay. It's kind of my fault anyway. Dinner after? He asked. Was he asking me on a date? Did Hutch forgive me? I nodded before I could speak. I don't know what I said, but I handed the paper to Hutch. My hand met the warmth of his hand. My fingers played with his. Hutch gave me a small chin lift, and even though it was after 2 a.m, I dared to hope that we could be friends. Maybe more. I glanced at him, then quickly glanced away, the heat forming on my cheeks. Our hands joined, our fingers intertwined. Hutch was so close I could feel his warmth. His mouth opened a little and quirked into a smile. I've wanted to kiss him for so long. His eyes were magnetic. My heart rate tripled. His arms circled around me and drew me close. Our mouths were so close. I've wanted this moment so much it hurt. The church taught that what I was feeling was wrong, sinful. I didn't care. I joined my lips with his, hot, moist, firm. His hands ran along my back. Oh God, I've wanted this so bad. Grandfather's voice was in my head. Immoral, dirty, you shame me. Hutch's back was solid and his muscles tight. For once, I could relax and be me. I caressed his cheek and let my fingers wander through his hair. I pulled his shirt a little to the side and kissed his neck. The music still played downstairs. Wasn't it after 2? Our kiss lasted an eternity, and the fear inside me melted. Hutch had forgiven me. I broke our kiss and stepped away. Something naughty thrilled me, and I suppressed a smile. Reaching to the collar of his shirt, I ripped it open and continued tearing the fabric until his entire shirt was torn open. I spread it to show his chest, and the shirt was so loose it fell off him. Even the little bit of hair on his chest was sun-bleached. I tickled his chest with my fingers and slowly ran a hand down to the hair around his navel. I had organized all the papers, notes, cards, and whatever on the bed. We fell in the middle of it, kissing. Best use of research material ever. We laid side by side, facing each other and kissing. Hutch was shirtless. Dad's voice in my head said, I am ashamed to call you my son. This was so wrong. I had caused so many problems. With Hutch, with his paper, with my parents, my family. You had to be married to have sex, right? I was a virgin. I'm gay, and that's against the church. Maybe my grandfather was right. Had I just caused my parents' divorce? Had Dad thrown me out of the family? I felt so lonely, and I hurt. This night was the worst night of my life. Dad's voice in my head said, I am ashamed to call you my son. Grandfather's voice in my head said, immoral, dirty, you have shamed the family. I ran out of Hutch's room. Jason, what is it? Hutch yelled. I ran down the hall, ran down the stairs, ran past the frat guy still in the living room, and fled out back into the darkness so no one could find me. I had screwed up my life, caused my parents to split, almost destroyed Hutch's paper, ruined any chance I had of finding love. Face it, I'm a freak. The tears fell. My entire chest ached. My heart hurt, and I collapsed to the ground. Why did life have to hurt so much? Care to draw another card? A voice said in the darkness, near me. His phone lit up, highlighting his face. Grin, what are you doing up? I asked. I'm just getting back from taking my boyfriend home, he said, kneeling next to me. You're gay? I asked. Just like you, and it's a good thing I got here when I did. Silly question. What do you think it's like for a caterpillar when it changes into a monarch butterfly? Grin asked. I've never thought about it, I said. It takes a week to 2 weeks being in a chrysalis, but everything in that caterpillar's life transforms until it seems like an all-new life, an all-new creature. Then the fragile thing has to fight to break free of its chrysalis. Stretching its new wings is slow and hard and maybe painful, but when it's done, it's a thing of beauty and wonder. Pick a card, Grin said, holding up his tarot deck. I cut the deck, revealing a card, and turned it over. It's blank, I said. No, not blank. It's your future. You can make it whatever you want, Grin said, holding the card up between 2 fingers. I don't know what I want anymore. I've screwed everything up. Why can't I be me? I said, and I scrunched my face up as I tried to keep from crying. I've ruined everything. I know it's hard, but you're breaking free of your chrysalis, and that's never easy, Grin said. Somehow, he was holding a pencil, and he gave it and the card to me. Go sit in the light and draw a picture on the card of the future you want. Fold the card in half, and then throw the card in the air. Let's see who catches it. That's stupid. I've messed up everything, and now my family hates me, and the frat hates me, and Hutch hates me. Everybody knows I'm gay, I said. So what? It's time to create the magic. Dance, Jason, and find your wings, Grin said, giving me a grin, and he went inside the frat house. I'm not an art major, but I did as Grin suggested. 2 stick figure men holding hands in front of a circle that was supposed to be a wedding ring. Underneath them, I drew surfboards, and around them I made palm trees and more surfboards. I wanted to be with Hutch, though he had no reason to ever want to see me again. I made little fires as kind of a design around the surfboards, and a rainbow, and some dancing people that look like Muppets, and more surfboards though they look like bananas. I'm so bad at this. I went back to the stick figure men and drew on one the jungle chic costume I had worn earlier, with my Celtic design on the shoulder. For fun, I gave him a diploma and a bow tie. The other man got big muscles and a bow tie and a diploma and a smile like he was happy to be with me. I erased his arm and redrew it holding my shoulders. I wrote words all around them like, I'm proud of you, and gay pride, and chocolate chip cookies. I like chocolate chip cookies, and rainbow sherbet, and I put in a banner that said, Wrap me in your love and we'll sail the stars. The words from the old song I had danced to back in happier days. In the background, I drew a butterfly with beautiful wings that, in my mind, glimmered golden. I made little pictures of all my friends, Grin and Dane and Anders and Howard and Hutch and Ben and Solomon and Albrecht and Chaz and Twitch and everybody else. I wasn't sure if my family would ever speak to me again, so I put them at a distance. My oldest brother, Ether, waved a rainbow flag because I wanted somebody in my family to still like me. Finally, I made word balloons around the 2 main stick figures, like they could talk to each other for hours, like they could trust each other. It looked like random bubbles, and I gave up drawing. This was a dumb idea. Grin meant well, but his little tricks wouldn't make me feel better. Dancing always did. I couldn't sleep, not after all the chaos. I tried to play music, but I couldn't find my phone. It must be back in my room. I heard the music so much that I played it in my head, and danced through the apocalypse that was my life. I danced the entire part of Ariel, then danced the entire routine from the music video, and I went through the entire choreography we were preparing for the Christmas pageant. I danced for hours, reliving the entire night and all my failures. I tossed my shirt to the side and let loose. No one was watching, and I let my frustration and helplessness and fury out as I danced. I had never danced that hard in my life, and I couldn't stop. It was the only way I could cope with the night. I danced and danced and danced until dawn, until I felt better. I grabbed my sweatshirt, pulled it on. I was very sweaty and needed a shower, but I must have burned 10,000 calories dancing, and I was starving. Breakfast came first. The card and pencil were where I had left them. I made a last note. I want to be happy. Before I folded the card in half, then tossed both it and the pencil into the air. Grin had told me to. And he was one guy I wouldn't disappoint. They arced into the dawn light and vanished. They didn't fall to the ground. I looked everywhere. There wasn't any sign of them. What kind of a disappearing card trick had Grin pulled this time? At least it made me smile. I guess Grin's little trick had worked. Time for breakfast. The frat house looked like a level 4 hurricane had a party inside. I had to wash up a few things before I found the eggs and bacon and hash browns. Would Hutch like breakfast in bed? It would give me a chance to explain about me, about last night, about running out. Good Lord, where was the coffee pot? I would need a lot of caffeine this morning. While the coffee brewed, I was cooking the bacon so I could fry the eggs and potatoes in its grease when something rustled behind me. A pair of arms wrapped around me, and Hutch whispered, "I don't know what I did last night, but I'm sorry. You haven't slept, have you? Are you okay?" "Not really," I whispered. He set my phone by me. It displayed the last text from my dad. I didn't mean to read it, but when I picked your phone up off the floor, it flashed on. "You've got family trouble. The bad kind. Why don't you tell me about it?" Hutch said. For the first time in my life, I trusted somebody with the truth of the pain inside. Well, we had breakfast. We talked. I know Hutch had to get his paper turned in. I know all the problems from last night were my fault, and Hutch should hate me. But instead, he listened. "You'll be okay. I'll make sure of it," he said. "We need to talk about a lot of things. After I get the paper turned in, and you get a shower and get to dance, let's meet at the Student Services Center for lunch, okay?" "I love it when there's a happy ending," Solomon said, walking into the kitchen. "Anybody seen the coffee pot?" "Already brewed," I said. "Jason, I think I'm in love," Solomon said, finding a cup and filling it. "Jason is my boyfriend. Stick with your girlfriend," Hutch said. Albrecht and Ben followed Solomon. Albrecht was alert and dressed. Ben had bed hair. Hutch held my hand, and I finally relaxed. "Your boyfriend, Officer Ellerby, had me sweating bricks last night," Solomon said to Ben. "I thought the cops were going to close us down." "I didn't know your boyfriend was a police officer," Albrecht said. "That's Niles for you. He's as serious as they come, but every so often he surprises you," Ben said, pouring a cup for Albrecht and then one for himself. "Crap, I've got to run," Hutch yelled, taking a last gulp of coffee. The morning was chilly, so I put my hoodie on, and while I rode the bus, I replayed the last 12 hours in my mind. It felt like it had been much longer. As weird as it sounded, I began to understand what Grin had said. Coming out last night was escaping my cocoon. For some weird reason, I didn't mind my frat bros knowing about me. Only time would tell about my family. But Mom was okay with me. I had just arrived at the 8 o'clock dance practice when my dad called. "Speak fast, class is starting," I said. Dad took a deep breath, and when he spoke, his voice trembled. It was late. I was angry. I'd fought with your mom for an hour last night. I'm not proud of what happened. Look, son, I'm trying to apologize because what I texted was unforgivable. As a start, I confronted your grandfather at 7 this morning and told him that if he ever wants to speak to any of us again, he would write an apology to you. He did, and I'm holding it, and mine as well. I want to send them to you. What's your address? Why is grandfather so obsessed? I asked. The church is splitting our stake and reorganizing the boundaries for the wards. Watson Hill will go from 2 stakes to 3 stakes, and from 15 wards to 20. Your grandfather wants in on the new leadership opportunities, maybe even stake president of the new stake. He thinks that having a nonconformist gay grandson will hurt his chances, Dad said. What's your address? I gave it to him. After a 4-hour dance practice, I met Hutch about noon. I told him about the phone call with my dad. Hutch rolled his eyes. I'm glad I'm not in your crazy family. I'll stick with my own. We had just kissed when another text came in. This one from my brother Ether. Don't know if you heard the details. Grandfather made a nuisance of himself and tried to shock us by telling us you were gay and needing saving. He's so out of touch. We told him to stay out of our lives. He didn't like that. Last night, me and our brothers bought every rainbow flag we could find, went to grandfather's house, and planted them in his lawn, and then we plastered $100 of Utah Pride stickers all over his van. Amma knew a trick. Those stickers aren't coming off. Grandfather was furious this morning. He called everybody at 6 in the morning, demanding to know who did it. I was at work when he called me and hung up on him. I called Mom, and she said grandfather screamed at her. We're kicking that man out of the family, maybe even getting a restraining order. We've got your back, baby bro. Proud of you for being who you are, and jealous of the way you can stay in shape. My wife says she married the wrong brother and is signing me up for a gym. Send us a pic of you and your boyfriend. You do have one, right? Didn't you say your dad called right before your morning practice? Hutch said. Grandfather must have a split personality, I said. I held up my phone, took a selfie of Hutch and me smiling and giving the surfer wave, and sent it. I also texted, Grandfather is weird. He and Dad are mailing me apology notes. Ether responded. Return to sender. After lunch, I went to my part-time job. I'm a sales associate at Bixby's Electronics. Then I caught the bus home. I prefer the bus because some days dance practice leaves my arms and legs feeling like limp spaghetti, and I've missed my stop because I was asleep at least once a week. Since I hadn't slept for more than 30 hours, I curled up in the last row, turned my phone off, propped my legs up, and was out. Is this seat taken? An older man said, waking me. How long had I been asleep? I fumbled with my pack and looked around at the unfamiliar landmarks. Crap, I'd missed my stop. Take my seat, I said, and pulled the cord. Life wasn't fair. I was 3 stops past mine, and my legs felt like silly putty. The Vegas air had a chill to it. Once I was off the bus, I pulled my hoodie out of my pack, put it on, and pulled the hood up. Once I was back at the frat, I'd find a bed and collapse. Would Hutch mind if I used his? It took me 15 minutes to slowly walk to my street, and another 10 to walk the side streets to the 3-story frat house. The night was dim. The air had cooled a little more. Jason, Grin said. I looked around for my friend. I wanted to talk to him, tell him what had happened, tell him he was right, ask him about the card that had disappeared. Grin wasn't here. I was alone on the sidewalk. Parked just a little ways from the frat house was an old white van with Utah plates. It faced me. Dad was in the driver's seat playing with his phone, the light highlighting his face.
Grandfather was in the passenger seat, his face etched with a scowl, and a couple of men were behind them. None of them moved. What are they doing here? Watson Hill was 5 hours away. With my hood up and the night dim, they didn't know it was me. Crap. I was all alone on the sidewalk. I reached into my pack, pulled out my phone, and turned it on. I called my brother. Somebody answered, but I didn't give them a chance to speak. Ether, why is Dad and Grandfather in Vegas? Ether's in the shower, a woman said. Is this Jason? I'm so sorry about last night. Eliza? What's going on? I crossed the street to make it look like I wasn't going to the frat house. I don't know. Hang on, I'll take the phone to Ether. I kept walking. Something about the van scared me. Jason, where are you? Ether yelled. Near the frat house. Why are they here? I said. To bring you back to Utah. You're kidding, I said. Grandfather boasted last night that he had been in contact with someone on the internet who will rescue you from your gay friends and make you straight, and it only costs 10 grand. He wanted the family to donate. We laughed at the old coot. We didn't take him serious. Maybe we should have, Ether said. Are you alone? Grandfather's head lifted and looked at me, his eyebrows raised, and he said something to the others. Grandfather noticed me. I whispered. Run, I'm calling for help, Ether yelled, and hung up. The 4 men climbed out. One man held a roll of duct tape. Another held a large black bag. Jason, this is for the salvation of your soul, Grandfather calmly said. Son, we don't want this to get ugly. Climb in the van and we'll go back to Utah, Dad said. It's time you accepted that I know what's best for you, Grandfather said. I backed away and fidgeted with my phone. I hit some random number on speed dial. It rang. Jason? Mom said. Dad and Grandfather are trying to kidnap me, I shouted. Aren't you in Vegas? Mom said. Mom, help. She couldn't do anything. She was 5 hours away. The man with the duct tape lunged at me. Another guy circled around me, cutting off my escape. I dropped the phone and yelled, Hutch, help. He wasn't around either. The man kicked my phone into somebody's yard. Mom yelled, If you hurt my son, so help me, I'm calling the police. Honey, it's okay. We're doing this to save Jason, Dad shouted. Grin, help, I screamed. Time to spread your wings, Grin said. But this time, he was here, beside me. I'm glad you're here. They're trying to kidnap me, I said. Where did you come from? Grandfather yelled. The man with the duct tape tackled me, or tried to. I simply danced out of the way and let him fall on the pavement. I don't know who you are, but this doesn't concern you. Leave before you get hurt, Grandfather said to Grin. I'm Grin, and it's not a pleasure to meet you. Either walk away or face the consequences, Grin said. 2 skinny college punks don't scare me, Dad said. You said we wouldn't have any witnesses. We need to get out of here. Like I told you before, it's prison time if we're caught, one of the men said. Not without my grandson. Jason, look at the trouble you're causing us. Get in the van, Grandfather yelled. Grin pulled out his tarot deck and grinned. Let's see what kind of trouble it might be. Pick a card. I'm not playing games. Jason, you are coming with us, Grandfather yelled. Too bad this isn't a game. Jason, pick a card on behalf of your grandfather, Grin said. 7th card down, I said. We have to get out of here, Dad yelled. Grin pulled out the death card. Your life is about to transform. Jason had a hard time with this one. I think you will have a harder one. We need a clarifying card. Jason? Bottom card, I yelled. 10 of swords, one of the bad luck cards. I'm sorry, gentlemen. You're screwed. You've lost everything, and you don't even know it, Grin said, grinning. Jason, let's go inside and get something to drink. A nice Chardonnay. But you're too young. How about a nice cup of herbal tea? Jason, you will get into the van and come with us now, Grandfather yelled. Don't listen to that man. I've called the Vegas cops, and they are on their way, Mom screamed through the phone. I refuse to go with you, Grandfather. Leave me alone, I said. I will not take no for an answer. I am the priesthood authority of this family, Grandfather screamed, and drew a pistol. The whole world stopped, and I looked at Grin. I didn't know what to do. Stupid, stupid, stupid. I told you to leave that thing home. You know how your hand trembles, Dad yelled. Stop treating me like an old man. Jason will come with us, and this will make sure of it, my grandfather yelled. And their bad luck grows. Let's make things worse for them. Jason, lay down on the ground, face down. Copy me, Grin whispered, getting down on his knees, then laying down. He placed his hands behind his head. I did the same. Grin yelled, You can have our money. Grandfather, don't shoot. I'm sorry I didn't go to church, I yelled. God damn son of a bitch. Jason, get up. Stop defying me, Grandfather screamed, and he pointed his gun down at Grin and me. Somebody, help us, Grin yelled. Get away from those guys. I've called the police, a woman yelled from across the street. Several neighbors came out. They were filming us. Sirens were in the distance. One man came out of his house with a shotgun. Mom, I yelled. Shit, we have to get out of here, Dad said. The neighbors are watching. Jason, I'm still here. I'm on the line with the Vegas police right now, Mom yelled through the phone. I will not let my grandson destroy me. He will come with me, and he will thank me, Grandfather said. Kid, get in the van, the man with the duct tape yelled, and ran toward me. You heard them. The police are on their way. This operation's over. The crazy old man brought a gun. You know what they'll do to us if we're caught. We need to get out of here before the cops show up, the man with the bag said. Everybody, get in the van. We're leaving. They're threatening my son with a gun because he won't go to church, Mom yelled. Something small fell from the sky, and a moment later there came a strange pop and then a loud hissing. It had hit the rear driver's side tire. Good God, the tire's completely flat, Dad yelled. We can't go anywhere. The man with the black bag turned to look. Is that a pencil? How? Somebody has good aim, Grin whispered, glancing at me. That's my pencil? I whispered back. You threw it, Grin said. That was this morning. How did it get here? I asked. Magic, Grin said. How did I know he was going to say that? Pencils don't puncture tires. That's impossible. We can drive on the rim until we find a tire station, Grandfather yelled, and accidentally fired his gun. I covered my head. Grin did likewise. Dad fell back. One of the men screamed, Stupid old man, you've killed the van. I told you, but you never listen, Dad yelled. Oh my God, he fired his gun. Jason, are you okay? Mom yelled. The bullet had struck the center of the engine. The scent of gasoline filled the air. More bad luck. Stay low, Grin said, and he held up a card. A son? What did that mean? You're somehow doing this, Grin. Stop it now, Grandfather yelled, waving his gun at Grin. How could I? You're the one with the gun, idiot. Jason, which side of your family is the smart side? It didn't come from him, Grin said. I was so scared, I giggled. From my vantage, I could see the bottom of the van. Gasoline dribbled underneath it. Had the bullet hit the gas line? More bad luck is on its way, and he is angry, Grin said. A man screamed, "Get away from my boyfriend!" It wasn't me, or Grin, or any of the men from the van. It was Hutch, running out of the frat house and carrying a baseball bat. Hutch ran across the yard and out to us. He yelled, "Frat boys, frat boys, frat boys." "Hutch, keep everyone away. Grandfather has a gun," I yelled. "I'm not leaving you, babe. I'm going to pound that man into the pavement," Hutch yelled. "We've got to get out of here," Dad screamed. "But I am saving my grandson's soul," Grandfather said. "More bad luck is coming your way," Grin said, grinning. "By the way, gentlemen, I'm just the warm-up act. Jason has a lot of friends. I'd like you to meet the frat." As if Grin had planned it, the frat house door opened, and my frat bros charged out. Solomon, Dane, Anders, Chaz, Howard, Hugh, Albrecht, Finn, Twitch, and at least 40 more guys. As one they yelled, "Frat boys." They poured out of the frat house like an angry, testosterone-filled pack of tigers. Ben aimed his phone at us and recorded. "Oh shit, we have to leave now," the man with the duct tape screamed, and he dropped the duct tape and ran. The other guy followed him. My grandfather grabbed my hair and pulled me to my feet. He waved the gun at the frat boys, at Hutch, at Grin, at me. "Start the van. We're getting out of here before anything else goes wrong." Dad jumped behind the wheel and started the van. It sputtered and somehow started. Hutch lunged for the gun. "No," I screamed, pulling away from Grandfather, and pushed Hutch out of the way. Grandfather fired. The bullet missed my boyfriend. Dad put the van into gear. The rear wheel spun on its rim, immediately making sparks. The gas caught fire. "Shit," my dad yelled and dove out of the van. Something itched in my left side. I lifted my shirt. Blood gushed from a wound right below my left ribs. I can't believe it. I'm bleeding. I can't be. I counted my rapid breaths. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh my God! Pain exploded like nothing I had ever felt. Grandfather's bullet had hit me. My grandfather had shot me. "Damn! Hutch, back up! The van's on fire!" Solomon screamed. "Heathens, I do not permit swearing," Grandfather said, and then noticed the fire. I sank to my knees, my hand covering my side. Nobody noticed me. Solomon ran to Grin, grabbed him by the shoulder, helped him up. I knew what Grin's sun card meant. We were about to have an explosion. The van blew up. Everybody ducked. Mom screamed through my phone. Sirens shrieked through the air. I fell over. If I survived, would I still look good in a thong? I would have laughed at my vanity if I didn't hurt so much. Good thing Grin helped me spread my wings. Now I can fly to heaven. I'll be the first angel with a thong and butterfly wings. "I love you, Hutch," I whispered. Somebody suddenly supported me, held me. "Hutch." "Oh my God, Jason's been shot," Hutch yelled. "No, my baby," Mom yelled through the phone. I coughed. Something warm was on my chin. Hutch knelt by me and held me and screamed, "Somebody call an ambulance." I coughed again. "Did I do it right this time?" I whispered, placing my hand on Hutch's. How did he get blood on his face? Was that mine? "Don't talk, babe. Stay with me," Hutch said, wiping something on my chin. His fingers came away red. Tears brewed in his eyes. I wanted to be the noble champion, so you would notice me," I whispered, and coughed again. "Don't leave me," Hutch said, and clutched my hand. "I'm so tired, and it hurts," I mumbled, as the world darkened. I guess I'd closed my eyes, but I didn't do it on purpose. Somebody screamed.
Hutch, I think. His voice growing fainter. Jason, stay with me. Help me, there's so much blood. Drop the gun or I will shoot, some man yelled. Jason, Hutch said. The voices kept getting fainter. Some gun clicked. Drop the gun, a woman yelled. Jason, somebody help us, Hutch said, but he seemed so far away. Niles, that monster shot Jason. He tried to kidnap him. Jason's dying, Ben yelled. Dispatch, this is Officer Ellerby. Code 1, I repeat, Code 1. We need an ambulance and paramedics. My location. Victim is male, around 20. Gunshot to the abdomen. He's bleeding pretty bad and might already be dead. You killed a kid? Last chance. Drop the gun or I will gladly fire, the woman said. Something metallic clattered to the ground. See, I'm dropping the gun. I'm dropping the gun. I surrender, Grandfather screamed. Hutch wailed and something wet fell on my cheek. I can't feel a pulse. Jason stopped breathing. You killed him. You killed my boyfriend. Jason's dead, Solomon said. Gentlemen, stand back. We will handle this. Ben, get the frat back on the lawn, Officer Ellerby said. Guys, do as Niles says, Ben said. Grandfather yelled, You can't blame me for this. It's not my fault. It's Jason's fault. If Jason had gotten in the van, none of this would have happened. The world and pain faded until there was nothing. A voice whispered in the darkness. Grins, I think. Dance, Jason. I floated above a dark stage with the spotlight pointed at me. Suddenly, I was in my Ariel costume, black ballet slippers and a black thong. The music from The Tempest played, and I danced as Ariel. I could move. I could dance. I could breathe. There was no pain, only the music, only the dance. So I danced. What had happened to me? For some reason, I didn't want to remember. The dance lasted hours or days or weeks, and I didn't stop dancing. I was Ariel, wandering spirit freed by Prospero, and I could dance with the stars. It wasn't fun dancing alone, and as I danced, I looked for someone to dance with. Where was Hutch? Something beeped in time to the rhythm. A heartbeat. My right hand wouldn't move. Something pinched one of my fingers, and an odd thing poked into my arm. My right hand was cold, but something warm held it. Not something. A hand. Another hand held my left hand, but it was cold. There was a heavenly smell in the air. Coffee. Could I use a cup right now? Make that a gallon. I woke, staring at a tiled ceiling, and lay in a narrow bed with pale blue sheets. Mom held my left hand, her face wet with tears. My brother, Ether, stood at the foot of the bed and broke into a smile. Hutch held my right hand, looking pale. A container of apple juice sat on the table by him. He had a Band-Aid stained with a drop of blood taped to the inside of his elbow. Had he donated blood? For me? I'm here, my noble champion, Hutch whispered. A tear leaked from the inside corner of his eye and dribbled down his face. He wiped it away. My voice was scratchy and my throat was dry, so the words came out like sandpaper. Did you call me your boyfriend? I guess I did. It was kind of a lousy date yesterday. Do you want to try again? Hutch said. In front of my family, the people I had been most afraid of telling that I was gay, Hutch and I kissed. Epilogue. I'd been unconscious for 15 hours, and I was in the hospital for a week. I'd been interviewed by the police, and Ether handled the press. This is Vegas. It was old news as soon as the next worthy crisis hit. Any crime involving a gun makes the sentence worse.
for attempted kidnapping, attempted murder, stalking, and threatening people with a gun. My grandfather received a 30-year sentence with the possibility of parole at 15. Since my grandfather was in his early 70s, it added up to a life sentence. But he wouldn't serve his sentence in a Utah jail, but in a Nevadan one. Grandmother moved to Nevada so she could visit him. She always blamed me for her husband going to prison. We lost contact with her. My father and the other 2 men had a similar sentence. When their parole came up, I'd be in my mid-30s, and Dad would be almost as old as Grandfather is now. Mom divorced Dad and met someone new, but that's coming up. Though my family fragmented, we stayed in touch. As far as I know, none of us celebrate Halloween. Grandfather ruined it for us. The night I got home from the hospital, I sat on one of the sofas, cuddling next to Hutch while watching the evening news. The frat guys threw a party, partly because I was home, and partly because they needed the excuse to party. Everybody was there. I was billed as the hero of the frat who saved his boyfriend from the crazy old man. Did anybody care that I was gay? No. They did want to know how I screwed up Hutch's keyboard. These crazy, mixed-up, totally insane guys were my family. Grin wandered into the kitchen carrying his dishes, and I stiffly got up and followed him. Thanks. I don't think I'd be alive without you. Can I draw a card and see what to do next? I said. Grin hugged me and whispered, Not yet. You still have a card in play, and I don't think you'll need to draw another after that. You have beautiful wings. Show them off to the man you love. Dance, Jason. I glanced behind me to see what he was talking about, but I didn't see any wings. I saw Hutch. I couldn't dance. Not right now. I was exhausted. You look like you've been dragged over the rocks, Hutch whispered. Grin diplomatically turned away to wash his dishes. It's been a weird week, I said. That I can agree to. I'm tucking you in bed, Hutch said. Can he sleep in your bed tonight? Guess what I drew? Grin faced us, holding a card between 2 fingers. The lovers, but they were both male. One was Hutch. One was me. How did you do that? Hutch said. Grin only grinned and put the cards away. After a goodnight kiss, Hutch placed me in his bed and lay beside me. We didn't do anything, because I fell asleep the second I was horizontal. Hutch and I transferred to the Honolulu University the following year, and Hutch proposed. We sent wedding invites shaped like a surfboard. Along with it, I sent a picture of both of us, shirtless, standing in front of a surfboard, and kissing. I didn't send one to my grandparents or my dad. I would never see my grandfather again, or my father. Hutch had taught me how to surf and how to accept myself. His family made me one of theirs. I had 3 families now. I had never been so happy. For our wedding, we sat on our boards, holding hands, in front of a judge who was also a surfer, and she married us 50 feet from shore. Albrecht, Grin, Dane, and Anders were the best men on Hutch's side of the line, while Ether and my brothers were on my side. We were surrounded with surfers who helped the rest of our frat bros stay afloat. Albrecht had never been on a surfboard before. Neither had my brothers or my mom. Mom wobbled on her board, giggling, and one of Hutch's uncles helped stabilize her. They were obviously flirting. She said to him, "What a great tradition. I think all weddings should be in bathing suits." It wasn't long before Mom moved to Maui. Hawaii is contagious and has the most amazing sunsets. As the sun was setting, Hutch and I took our seats at a round table on the beach, the table of honor. Tonight was our wedding luau. Somebody yelled. Drummers pounded on the drums. The performers started to hula dance. And suddenly, 1,000 white balloons floated into the sky. The sunset light made them look gold. Something fluttered from the sky, a weird folded tarot card with a drawing on it. I caught it, opened it up, and dumbly stared at the picture I vaguely remember drawing. I looked at the people around me, and I had to show Hutch. Grin's final card made me tear up. The weird random drawing I had made was a stick figure drawing of my wedding luau. The little flames were the tiki torches. The wood balloons were the white balloons sailing into the sunset. All my frat bros were there, and the luau had surfboards sticking in the sand. My mom and little sister and brothers and their families were there, all placed where I had drawn them. Grin, how did you do this? I drew the picture almost 2 years ago, I said. There's nothing up my sleeves, Grin said, grinning, and showed off his bare arms. He wore a tank top and wrapped an arm around his boyfriend. There's one more detail before this wedding is perfect. My wedding present. Check your wallet. I did. I should be used to Grin and his card tricks, but it still surprised me, because his gift wasn't a card. A butterfly as big as my hand, with beautiful wings the color of my wedding band, flapped its wings a couple of times, flew out of my wallet, and disappeared into the sky. How did you do that? You honestly expect him to answer? Hutch said. Grin gave a little chuckle. It's your time to dance, Jason. Show off your husband. I took Hutch's hand, and we danced at our wedding. The end. Thank you for joining me. This story was a massive reworking of a story from my other channel, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you would like to hear Hutch's side of the story, see Night of the Living Frat. The link is below. If you would, leave a like, or even subscribe, or say hi in the comments. I'll see you next week. Peace.